So I would like to emphasize again that I'm not critical. I love my Western brothers and sisters even more than I love my Indian brothers and sisters. I assure you this is from my heart. Otherwise, after my master left me here, I would not have visited the US every year for about 18, 19 years and spent months together in France and Europe if it was not to serve them as my master ordered me to do. That is an important thing that people, that especially preceptors should understand. That when we serve abhyasis, we are really serving the master, who is not personally there to serve the abhyasis, so he leaves us to serve them. Because when a preceptor begins to imagine that he is serving the abhyasis, in some way he begins to make of himself a guru, and then his fall commences. It's a very important lesson that preceptors must learn. It's equally important for abhyasis to remember this, because if they think the abhyasi is serving them, it becomes in some way idol worship. Because what is the fault in idol worship, as Babuji explained? It is that we take the idol to be God, instead of the idol representing a God who is elsewhere, who is everywhere. So when we think the preceptor is serving me, we forget the master who is really serving us through the preceptor. It is like I speak on the telephone to somebody in Bombay or Calcutta or London, and I say thank you to the telephone every time. Or like one of the examples I like in India, where priests perform the marriage, and I've thanked the priest all my life, ignoring my wife. No, he brought us together, honey. Without the priest, we wouldn't have been married. So you see, we have to keep in a right perspective what is the eminence and the importance of the guru in our life. What role does the preceptor play in our life? It's merely a role, not eminence, not importance. Because without him, we can still get our transmission from the master. In fact, there are many centers where there are no preceptors. There are isolated abhyasis who don't have access to a preceptor. They progress often faster than centers where we have 4 or 5 preceptors. I remember Babuji once, bemoaning the fact that when there was one preceptor only in each place, things were running well. The moment a second preceptor came, there was chaos. There was this quest for who's more important, who's senior, things like that. He said, I made a terrible mistake in having 2 preceptors in any place. Now we have hundreds of them in some places. Here in Chennai, for instance, I think we have something like 90 preceptors. But they go out every Sunday. We started this experiment in Tirupur in South India, where we had about 22 preceptors, and we started sending them out in all directions, and so many centers were developed within a year. That is when preceptors work as a team, share the work, all feel happy together for a work performed well, cooperatively together. But the moment one element says, I am doing better work than you, so you see in this chain of, shall we say, life, the mother is important, the father is also important. We have to love both. Brothers are important, for they give us support, for they give us company in our growing years. Sisters are important. Society is important. Schools are important. Everything is important. Now in a society which is well regulated, this respective importance of each element of that society is upheld, fostered, nurtured, and laws are made to protect all these elements. But if there is a society which protects dogs and cats and ignores the protection that wives need, what happens to that society? I'm often amused in a place where there was a woman who died and she had $6 million and 100 cats. She left it to the cats, appointing a manager for her house to look after the cats who was paid out of her estate. She ignored all the poor people who were sleeping, without food, without clothes, and receiving dole, soup kitchens. So this shows the craziness, of personal preference. I remember, I think, who was it who made this law? I forget, it was a philosopher who said before you do anything, you don't need to look at the moral codes. You have only to ask yourself one question. If everybody did this, would it be good? No, I want to steal this food. If everybody in the world stole food, would it be good? No, I should not. I waste water. If everybody in the world wasted water, what would happen? I should not waste water. You see? The fundamental easiness and quickness of response is when you ask yourself this question, what would happen if everybody did this? We don't need 10 commandments of Moses or the maxims of Chariji Master or the codes of Hammurabi. None of these are necessary. Each individual should ask himself or herself this question. So that deals with that part of our life, you see. Life must be simple, in tune with nature, because when we are not simple and we acquire things we don't need, they distract our attention. They have to be maintained, they have to be protected against thieves, robbers, pestilence, rats, what have you. So our attention is diverted beyond what it is necessary for our attention to be placed upon. For a simple man, he only thinks of his dhoti and his towel. He thinks of his meditation. He thinks of his simple food. Easily done. There is no man on earth who cannot live on, let us say, $30 a day. No man. Even in the US. In India, it would translate it to say 50 rupees a day. Comfortable living. I am not talking of poor, poverty-ridden people. They live on 3 rupees, 5 rupees. So you see how much we earn and how much we waste and how much we really consume. Anyway, I don't want to keep, rubbing that point until it breaks. As I said, my intention is to convey the teachings of Chariji Master effectively. And if it is necessary to do it forcefully or emphatically, that's all I have done. I repeat, I love everybody equally. There's nothing in my heart which says these people are better than that or those people are less than this. Some are better knowers, some are poor knowers, some have been taught well, some have been taught not so well. Some have been pampered, some have not been pampered, some are better enrolled, some are not so better enrolled. This is all there is to it. But teaching is common to all. Everybody has to go to school and learn. Everybody has to regulate his life or her life. Everybody has to meditate. So teaching is a general thing applicable to all people at all times, everywhere. If it was applicable in the time of Christ, and before him, centuries before that, it is today applicable and it will continue to be applicable centuries into the future too. I have dealt with personal living, its requirement of simplicity, truth, honesty. Say what you mean what you say. That's all that is the truth. Is it true, Chariji, that you have been in America 19 times? Maybe, may not be. 19 is a figure. I may have not counted, I may not have remembered. And if you find in my diaries and count it, it was only 17, you told us a lie. Well, it was not a lie. It was wrong calculation. When a child adds up 2 plus 3 and says the answer is 4 in the KG, kindergarten, it doesn't tell a lie. It only shows its inability to add. See? Simplicity, honesty, plain living. Say what you mean what you say. Adequate. This covers personal life. Environment we have dealt with. If the environment is what it is, you will absorb whatever there is. If you go to a place where you feel horrified, get out. If you feel titillated, sensory awakening, leave it. I told you of my experience in New York, where we had a meditation hall which was originally a dance hall, Nobody knows what happened there. Because during my meditation, I saw girls hanging from the ceiling, suicides. Later on only, Brother Kamlesh Patel told me that it had been a dance hall. by dance hall, I don't mean where couples dance, where shows are held, perhaps. So get out, leave that atmosphere at once. We have to choose a place which is congenial to our well-being. We have to choose a company which is congenial to our well-being and advancement. Even in Basant, I told you what happened to me because of a neighbor who sat next to me in satsang on Basant Panchami Day. When we become sensitive, these things trouble us more and more. Therefore, you find a man who was a world traveler, became a traveler in India, is now ensconced in his Madapaka ashram, rarely moving out of it. This is one of the reasons why when he leaves his ashram, he doesn't feel so well, his health gets affected. That is why certain abhyasis are avoided. Because if they come, he falls sick again. I remember when Babaji was very sick, he said, only you must sit near me because I get comfort by your presence. You are highly spiritually developed. Don't leave me to anybody else's care. This is in Switzerland, in Etwa, in Stella Jacoron's house. He said, I don't want anybody coming in. This was the reason why in another house I had to sleep across the doorway. Because he felt, which Babaji later confirmed, that there was danger, a threat. See. So environment, companionship must be something which is good for us, which is good for our spiritual evolution, and therefore wives must be selected very carefully, looking at the spiritual potential and not at the body potential. This was something of a tradition in India, though it was done in a different way, not by looking at studying and then expounding the condition. It was done with certain principle in mind, family, parentage, were the parents of the girl healthy, of the boy healthy, do they have some insanity somewhere within 3 generations? All this was examined. Looks came last. But no, looks come first. That is the tragedy of the modern matrimonial situation. So again, to repeat, environment, companionship, including a wife and her family, because with the wife you acquire a family. In India, they are very much part of your environment, your family. 2 families unite in marriage, not just a man and a woman. Very carefully. It needs the most consideration because she is going to live with you, affect your life, all your life. This I say especially for our Indian brothers and sisters, Indian preceptors, wherever they may be. Environment, human companionship, whether they are friends, relatives, wives, families, anything. Last but not least, certainly the most important, the spiritual guide. Without a guide, you can do nothing. You want to swim, you need a teacher who can teach you swimming. You want to box, you need somebody who can teach you to box. You need to karate, you have seen in Karate Kid how a skinny old young fellow was taught by an old man who seemed to be a dotard in his old age, teaching him painting and lawn moving and catching flies with his chopsticks, and he became a champion. So the guide must know the principles. He does not need to know how to drive a car to teach you how to drive a car. That comes only when he has to show you how to do it. First teach, then do it practically, then leave him alone to do it by himself. 3 stages. Teaching, exhibiting, leaving alone, after confirming that he can now do it by himself. For all these 3, you need a qualified spiritual guide. Because very often people ask, why do I need a guide, Chariji? Even for bungee jumping, you need somebody to tie you that rope around your feet. For skiing, you need a slope and a ski instructor. I mean, you need a doctor when you are sick. And When the final event takes place, you need 4 people to carry your coffin to the grave. Even if you are the President of the US. Even if the flag of the United States of America is proudly draped over your coffin. Even if they are soldiers, they are 4 men who carry that coffin. So you see, we need a mother to be born, and we need 4 people to carry it finally on our final journey. So we are always beholden, beholden, beholden. So we say, as Babuji said, I cannot say thank you to the pallbearers because I'm dead. But during my life, if I say thank you, God, for everything that I shall receive, I have received. Somebody asked, why thank God? Should you thank the man who did for you? He said, yes. Somebody grows the vegetable. I have to thank the vegetable first, then the grower of the vegetable whom I don't know, then the man who brought it to the market whom I don't know, then the seller of the vegetable whom I don't know. How shall I locate them and find them and thank them? And can I do it individually for the wheat grower, for the bendi grower, for the potatoes grower? No, I can't. So I put everything together and say, thank you, God, because through Him only all this is happening. So prayer is nothing but expression of our gratitude for what we have received and for what we shall receive. Prayer is not asking. Babuji defines in Sahaj Marg that prayer is begging. God give me this, God give me that, God protect me, God let me live 100 years. All begging. As an expression of gratitude, yes, because ingratitude is the only sin in Sahaj Marg, as I have said earlier. Now, what is the importance of the Guru? Having mastered the way himself, he teaches us how to walk on that path. He walks with us right through from the first step to the last. Don't ignore this, because many people have felt his presence wherever they are, whenever they are. At any moment of your life, you may be in a chalet lonely on some Swiss mountain, you feel his presence there. You may be in a marketplace thronging with, humanity like in India, and he is there. I have felt him, I have seen him, I told you in Milano, when I was at the Hotel Duomo, and he came by in a coach. I have gone to the publisher, Parth Verlag in Zurich, and there they had evidence of his having come to discuss his book, Reality at Dawn, which had been translated into German and given to them for printing. They had a record, an old man wearing strange clothes with a funny cap on his head. I don't know why they had recorded it. That lady read it out to me. So you see, he is where you cannot be, before you. At the same time, he is with you, and he is taking up, whether you are on the Himalayan heights or in the deserts of Arabia, he is there with you to protect you, to assist you to get to your destination, and to leave you there with the final handshake and say, now my son or daughter, you are on your own. I have handed you over to the highest authority in this world, your creator. Without a guru, or you may call him a guide or a friend, in Sufism they call the guru a friend, because he is the only friend. Babuji said, he is the only friend who will give his life for you. That is the definition of a friend. A friend in need is a friend in need. Today you lose friends because after 20 years, you say, my dear friend, I need, whatever it may be. And he says, oh, for heaven's sake, why didn't you ask me last week? Can I have your room for 2 days because, my wife is going away and I have to keep my children. Oh, it's being wallpapered. Lies. So there are no friends in need today. I mean, we have friends who are in need. But when we are in need, we have no friends. Babuji said, when everything is lost, he is the only friend you will have. And he told me the story, of how too many friends is no use. There was a rich man whom everybody, looked up to in the city. And when he needed a friend, there was nobody. Why? Because Santokh Singh said, oh, Baba Singh must have gone. Yeah, he is the best friend he has. Baba Singh said, Santokh Singh must have gone. Santosh said, oh, Jackie must have gone. Jackie said, no, Chariji must be there. Nobody went. On the contrary, there was a lame farmer, with one hut. And when his hut was burnt, nobody went to him except his one friend of his. He had only one friend. He said, if I don't go, who will go? He cursed him. He said, damn fool to get his number. But he went. So he said, I have one true friend, a million good friends are no use to you. Avoid friendship, that's what advice he gave me. He didn't say avoid friends, he said avoid friendship. And I'm happy to state that I've never had more than 3 friends in my whole life. 3 friends. So you see, a guru does the service of a teacher. He is a friend when you are in utter need, the only friend. He is also your spiritual guide. He is the only one who will accompany you, not only through this life, but if you are devoted and have earned this, love for yourself, he takes you throughout existence, which means immortality. He is always, permanently, eternally with you. So this is the meaning of spirituality. And when people ask you, why do we need a guru? Why do we need a spiritual guide? Tell him the word guru is not important. Preceptors must understand this. Don't say master. That is repugnant in many contexts. He is a friend. If he is not a friend, he is nothing. And Babuji Maharaj said, how should we look upon a master or a guru? He said, accept him as a mother. Because mother is the only soul who loves you without any demands for herself. No physical demands, no material demands, no emotional demands, nothing. She loves you from birth to death and she will sacrifice herself for that. So the best way to think of your guru or spiritual guide, if you will have it, or your friend, is to think of it as a master, as a mother. Because then, the relationship is pure. A mother is always loved, often worshipped. Mother is adored. Mother is looked to even when you are 60 years old and you are sick. She is the only female on whose lap you can put your head with the certainty that she will brush your tears away and soothe you. So you see how culture is important, because a society which does not respect women does not respect the mother too. Ma mère. I hate my mother. Today if you go to France, all girls hate their mothers, all men hate their fathers. Almost without exception, I can say, from my experience of 25 years in Europe. One girl came to me in Ogeron, she was about 26. And for 10 years she had not seen her mother. She used all sorts of vulgarities when talking about her mother. I said, why? She said, oh, you don't know, Chari, what my life has been. She destroyed it. I said, don't have this hatred, because it will warp your being. It will corrode your heart. You will not have any peace of mind. And you will fall sick. She said, what should I do? She is dying of cancer. I said, go to her now. When? I said, today if possible. Go to her, hug her, and you French are always kissing people on 2 cheeks. Give her 27 kisses on each cheek. And she went, she was obedient. Somehow she overcame all her prejudices and hatred of her mother. She went. 7 months later, she came back to me, her face glowing. She said, Chariji, I have never had good advice like you gave me. If people had only told me earlier, we could have had so much happiness these last 15 years. I said, what happened when you went? She said, when I went and hugged her and kissed her, she wept, I wept, and everything seemed to be dissolved. I stayed with her till she died last week. And the day she died, it was as if there were flowers in the room. There was a sweet scent. And it seemed as if there was some music playing. And she died peacefully, with a smile on her lips. So you see, hatred corrupts us. Love ennobles everybody. Love is the only force which ennobles everything it touches, everybody into whose heart you pour it. And all animals respond to love, even if they are lions, tigers, bears. And as Babuji said, it's the only thing in creation which you send out and comes back to you, as it was. Because in nature, the law is whatever you send out comes back to you. You send out a boomerang, it comes back to you. Send out an arrow, it comes back to you from the hand of the enemy. You shoot and it comes back to you from the gun of an enemy. You send out love, only love comes back to you. Love, love, love. And that was also one reason why he said, you can hurt anybody's feelings in this world, but never hurt the heart of your mother. Because if a mother is hurt, even God responds to that hurt. He has to. Because that is the only cry of the heart which ever reaches him. So let us learn to respect mothers, love mothers, adore mothers, and therefore all women. Look upon all women as your mother or your sister. That is the foundation of, charity, ethics, morality, spirituality, everything. To the extent that Babuji could say, look upon your guru as your mother. What regard he must have had for motherhood. And the Virgin Mary with a baby was a mother to, they say, God himself, God reborn. So that is all I have to say now. I am a little tired, so I will stop.
जानकी नारी